Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS 82 apostrophe, with episode 34 of my Something Weird, Just a Thought. Today's discussion lies within my 4K collection, which I hope I can do in its totality. Why I have it, what I have, and why I have it. It's sort of about quality over quantity in terms of how I view that, right? It is subjective. Film is subjective. And so for what I have is really meaningful to me. But quick spotlight on just some quick laundry. Recently we dropped the Graveyard podcast. Me, Glenn, and Lonnie spent a few hours talking about Night of the Living Dead 1990 Tom Savini. That is linked down below. Lonnie, speaking of, has recalibrated his channel. He's created a new one, Mr. Macabre's Movie Library. That link is down below. He has talked about everything from Texas Chainsaw to 80s action to I Spit on Your Grave, both OG versus remake. And so there's already a small wealth of discussion there for you to definitely to check out and sub him as he's just getting off the ground. My own son, Sam, has a new show, the horror show, a series that he's doing on his own channel. That is down below. I think the last thing he did was Night of the Living Dead 68, the OG, right? And we cannot forget, of course, Jason from Horrific Nightmares and his buddy Joe. Amongst many things, they are currently working on a Video Nasty series, which is pretty cool. Looking out ahead, our next Graveyard Shit podcast is scheduled to record on February 14th. That's Valentine's Day, and we're going to be looking at the special effects beast known simply as Bride of Reanimator, a Bride of Usna film. And then our next collaboration is with BodyBags, is set to record on the 21st of this month, in which we'll look at our most treasured imports in our physical media collection. Looking forward to that discussion and seeing what everyone has in terms of things bought outside the country, right? And I think that's it on that. So 4Ks, the way I'm going to go through my stack, it's not a huge stack. I hope I can do the whole thing in one video. It is ordered via distribution company, and if there happens to be one or more films in said distribution company, then they will be alphabetically ordered. And I'm going to try to speak to a few, and I'll keep my eyes on the time and try to see that this doesn't go near as far as it should. So it's going to be a quick, but this ought to at least let you know what's out there if you don't already have it in your own personal collection, or perhaps I might give you a reason why you might finally need to pull the trigger. If you can, I'm going 4K. All right, so let's just go right off. 20th century, first one off the list, of course, is one of my top 5 greatest films ever. I have all 5 now in my collection, so I'll mention that as we go, but this is one that usually sits at number 3, and that's, of course, Alien. And this is just, 79, Ridley Scott. I can tell you stories of this. The toy in the press box in the movie theater literally gave me nightmares as a small kid. I did not see this in the theater when I was 9. I probably was there seeing something else. But this movie has since just grown very, very, very near and dear to my heart. And my daughter, for Christmas, actually gifted me with the original VHS trilogy, still factory sealed, found it in a thrift store. I have not opened that yet. That was Christmas. I still haven't opened yet. But anyways, Alien. And with that, the next one is actually the first 4K that I ever got. And it was a happy accident, sort of. I told my wife we needed Covenant in the collection. And so she didn't realize that we did not have 4K. But I do believe this had the Blu-ray in it, so it wasn't a big deal. But it always kind of gave me cause and reason to push for that, pulling the trigger on going 4K. And so this was actually the first disc that sat on my shelf for quite a while, all by itself, really lonely. Now it has a lot of friends surrounding it. And as I saw in the theater, I'm a big fan of Ridley's movies, and my heart is warmed knowing that as a result of the success of Romulus, he is now apparently he's been greenlit to give us that third piece that will take us up to the door of the original Alien, which, oh man, that I hope it happens. Next one is a movie, and it's the reason why I went region free. It's the reason why I upgraded my player so that I could order films across the sea. I don't know if this may end up in my top 5. I don't know. I haven't even really thought about it yet. But this is a upgrade from my 88 release on Blue. And that is, of course, Joe D'Amato's Anthropophagus, Film Raj, his company. I could go on. This is I'm going to be dead honest. This was not the release I should have pulled my trigger on. I should have pulled the trigger on the, I think it was 288 site, special to their site. I got this off of the Amazon UK. And so it's sort of the lesser version of what I could have got. I complained a little bit when I realized what I had done. But I love Anthropophagus, man. It is one of my favorite Italian films. And I really wish D'Amato would have given us more horror. But in terms of just having the film on 4K, it does look, man, it is a big step up from the Blu-ray release from 88. And the reason why I went region-free. And so take that for what you will, as Glenn often says. The next one is what I consider the greatest horror movie of all time. And that is, of course, Lucio Fulci's The Gates of Hell, or City of the Living Dead. This is the Cauldron release. It also comes with the motion picture soundtrack by Fabio Frizzi. And this is just, some of these I will open up real quick, as long as I don't have a problem. Look how beautiful this is. The disc is in there. And like the Arrow release, you also got a poster. I'm not going to open all that junk up, but this is it's 2 pieces of artwork. This is what I would have been accustomed to renting on VHS back in the day. I think that was, of course, I'm going to forget now. I'm just trying to think of the original company that released it on VHS. Of course, I'm escaping it, but real quick, you can see there's a poster in there. I already have my Arrow. I have the Arrow release as well, and that poster is actually up on my wall. But you can see multi-disc. And Cauldron, I think the standout, Sam Deegan's commentary on this is absolutely maybe the standout extra on this release. She is a treasure trove, wealth of knowledge on Italian cinema. And she's got her name on a few commentary tracks on a few Italian releases, and that is awesome. So Cauldron's release of City of the Living Dead. You're starting to see what I mean by quality over quantity. Now, this isn't always going to be everyone else's quality over quantity, but it's mine. This next one is a film that's been near and dear to my heart since I was a little kid. The movie poster used to light up my imagination and used to help me to dream of things out there that I wasn't able to kind of touch yet, or just may never be able to touch. In this case, Steven Spielberg's, who released this? This is Columbia released Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I have to say, man, that scene, and this is multi-disc release, and I don't recall this actually being that much money. But the view from, like, when you're at the ladies and the child's house out there in the middle of Indiana or something, out there in the field though, and the starlit sky, it looks so unbelievable on 4K. It is quite, and you got all the versions of the film on this too. I won't go through it all, but a lot of extra features and whatnot. But this really does look pretty good. Next one, I think, you know, we got out of phase 3 of the Marvel Universe, and we were sort of perhaps setting the stage for other things or whatnot. But Spider-Man No Way Home, this was fantastic. I'm not sure why I picked it up on 4K, but just having all 3 of our Spider-Mans in there, I'll never forget seeing it in the movie theater, and that was quite a treat. And so this is just one of those non-sort of consequential purchases. It just sort of, I don't know, ended up there, as well as another Marvel one that's in there. I think I only have 2, no, 3, I'm sorry. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now this does look pretty good. I think I probably favor the first film more than the second film, but in terms of how it looks, much darker, richer color palette. It just looks unreal. Columbia again. Okay, so now we're here's a film that is really super near and dear to my heart, and it was sort of a no-brainer to pick this up on. I actually saw this in the theater on its, was it the 40th anniversary, perhaps? But John Carpenter's Halloween, and I got a few of his movies in here. Of course, we're talking, God, who put this out? Lionsgate actually put this out, yeah. So at the time of this, they had the rights. And this, of course, I think this is the one that has the TV version footage, which it's not the only place you can find that. But that is some cool stuff to look at as well. And of course, I'm pretty sure that's when I saw it on its 40th anniversary in the big screen. Pretty cool stuff. Now who doesn't have Halloween on multiple formats? I even have it on the old Blockbuster VHS release. And a Blu-ray, I think the 10 film set that Screen Factory and Anchor Bay worked together to put out, and then DVDs, of course, and whatnot. This is a film I picked up for my wife. I think it was just a deal at Walmart, Knives Out. Not really, can't really, I did see it. I remember liking it, but another Lionsgate release. I don't know. This was more of something I think she wanted, and it was one of those pre-Christmas things at Walmart where you kind of get the good deal, and it just seemed to make sense to grab the 4K. There's not a lot of those types of films in here. A lot of this is just after things. Well, let's see, the next one. This is also one of my top 5 greatest films ever. This one probably sits at number 4 of my top 5. And that is, of course, it's the only one I have on 4K, and that is The Empire Strikes Back. And I do have to say, this has got one of the greatest menu screens. Some people that are slipcover nerds, I think I'm a menu screen nerd. That is the one thing that I tend to really pay attention to. I don't know why. It makes no sense at all, period. But I have to say, this release, Lucasfilm, just trying to see if there was someone else who put this up besides the normal holder. I don't think so. But this is absolutely epically awesome to look at and to listen to over the speakers. Just the quality of visual on the 4K transfer, and it's the only one that I really, really, really care to have. Now, eventually, someday, I wouldn't mind having the trilogy, the original, New Hope, Return. But for now, I'm happy just to have one of my top 5 greatest films ever. The other one is another Marvel one. It's the only other one I think left in here. And this one I got really super excited for just because it was Sam Raimi. You know what I'm talking about now. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is a fun movie to put on from time to time. It's got its flaws. It's still Sam Raimi, and there's still the Bruce Campbell cameo. It's got some pretty awesome visuals from time to time, and then it's got some that are not so. It's one of those mixed bags of things. And this, could be maybe the last really good. No, I shouldn't say that. Deadpool 3 was pretty good. I saw that in the theater. I do not own that, but that was pretty good, actually. I was going to say this might have been the last pretty good ones, but how could I forget Deadpool 3? That actually was pretty fun. This next one is an upgrade from DVD. It is a Christmas present, to my wife. It is her favorite movie. I'm pretty sure it's her favorite movie of all time. And I do like it myself a lot. And it is The Hunt for Red October. And I have to say, man, they Paramount release, and I have a few of those, absolutely knocked it out of the park. It just looks fantastic. If you're 4K and you haven't, for whatever reason, I can't imagine anyone out there not liking this movie. It's definitely worth having, I think. I don't know. It's not heavy on the extra features at all. This commentary track by John McTiernan. and a dock beneath the surface. It's really light on that stuff, but what you're getting is a really, really beautiful looking film, for sure, for sure. The next one is, again, one of my top 5 greatest films ever, so there was real purpose. Well, the one before was real purpose, was to make my wife happy. This one was to, I think, maybe this one finished off my top 5. I can't remember. No, that one's down there yet. But that is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Now, this probably rounds out my top 5. This sits usually at top 5. Okay, I'll be a menu screen nerd for a minute. This menu screen has everything to be desired. I mean, not to be desired. This was one of the worst, less satisfying mini screens I've ever seen. That's just a nerd to me. The transfer itself, the film itself, the sound and everything, I enjoy it. It's great. It's nice. It's the director's cut and theatrical cut. And I absolutely love this movie. This is easily my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. Although I will say motion picture has really grown on me. Part 3 has really grown on me. Of course, our favorites in the house, our go-tos are always 4, always 6, my wife's favorites. 5 has kind of grown on me with time, but nothing holds a candle for me personally. And this represents a time that, you know, and I should have said it earlier with Halloween, but that was a franchise that my mom and I, you know, would go see together. I can't remember, at least 2 or 3 of them, maybe, possibly 2, 4 for sure. I remember that one. But this is something my dad and I did. We always went to and this began, for me, this began with the motion picture in theater when I was just a little kid. I remember living in Niagara Falls, going to the convention center for the conventions, Star Trek conventions, Trekkie conventions. So this is just something that we really kind of did together. And so there's a lot of meaning in here for me on this. This might be the feel-good hit of the last couple years. And it might have been just, well, the price difference wasn't great, so why not just get it on? But I bought this without even having seen it yet. I was just going on what others said, and that is Top Gun Maverick. This movie is freaking fantastic. This has got to be easily, arguably, one of the great sequels, direct follow-ups to an original film that we have had in quite a while. It's just a great movie. Now, there's talks of a 3. I don't know if they can tap into that lightning in a bottle once again. But man, does Tom Cruise ever age? I don't know. Now, the next one was another one I probably should have waited 5 minutes before I pulled the trigger. I thought I was really getting something, and I did get something special. But unfortunately, it was without the commentaries and others that quickly followed up releases did. And this one is, I don't remember the company. This is, great. I'm not, oh, here it is. Tape Light put this out. This is the German media book of The Sadness. It's got to be one of the craziest infected films I have seen in quite a while. But it is quite fun to kind of just look at. And then it has, you know, the media book in there, which is pretty. Let's find one picture here. Let's find a good one here. See if there's a good one. Nothing really stands out. There's a comic thing here in the back, but it's 2 discs. Unfortunately, it didn't come with the commentary track, which was it Raven Films? Was that, or maybe it's a Black Banner or something like that? Put out a release, and there's Word Arrow's putting out a release of this. So, in order to get the commentary track, that is something I'd be sort of kind of tempted. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Now this next one, man. This next one is another John Carpenter film. This was released by Universal, so we're in the unit. Well, one from Universal. Is that? Oh, I kind of got them separated. I have to rectify that one. I must have put it back in the stack the wrong way. But John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness from. Actually, no. This first and foremost, it's a Screen Factory release. That's where it's supposed to be. And I got a couple of 2 of those. This is a movie that, you know, if you've seen the Quatermass trilogy, Quatermass Experiment, and Quatermass 2, and Quatermass in the Pit, you begin to really, truly understand what's at work with a film like Prince of Darkness, as well as some of other John's movies, be it In the Mouth of Madness, say, or The Thing, but this might be Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, which I know he didn't direct, but that's a great expression as well of the sort of Quatermass thing. But this is a Carpenter movie that in the last 10 years especially, has really grown on me, and I have really come to appreciate some of the things that John was doing in this particular movie. Now, the 4K looks fantastic. It might be one of, as far as I have, one of Scream Factory's better 4K transfers. But Alice Cooper, you can now run with that, man. I'm not sure. I think I pulled the trigger on this one because I never owned it, and there was always once in a while you get into this movie discussion about this film, and but it's a film I never had, and for the while you couldn't even get it anywhere, I don't think. And then finally, Scream Factory put out a pretty nifty edition of Alligator, and I also got Alligator 2 as well. The Mutation, is that what it is? This, of course, has the auto commentary from the director, as well as quite a few documentaries to feast on. It came with a poster as well. Scream Factory is good for that. Although I wish one would have came out with Prince. I think that I got that way later, though. I didn't catch that when it first came out. But that's for 1980, I think it is. Is it Robert Forsythe? Is that who's? No, Robert Forster. I'm sorry, Robert Forster. Yeah. Okay, next one, man. Now, I have the original Anchor Bay DVD, which is, I don't know, maybe just a crown jewel of many people's DVD collections. I know it's one of mine. But Second Sight Films basically took what Anchor Bay did and put it out in 4K format with a few new features. But this, man, when this first got announced, I pre-ordered this bad boy, and this did not disappoint. And that is George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And this is just one of those epic releases. I think the discs are pretty good in this. Just kind of pull out real quick. And it's, again, a lot like the Anchor Bay release, except it's 4K. It looks absolutely fantastic. Tons and tons and tons of extras on this bad boy. Just tons of stuff. I think Dawn and Lucio Fulci's Zombie probably gets argued as these arguably are two of the best zombie films ever. For me personally, Zombie, I don't know, edges this out a little bit. I think just because it's an island horror, which I love, and it's voodoo, and it's, I don't know, but unfortunately, I do not have that on 4K. I do have the incredible, I'm pretty sure it was Blue Underground put out Zombie, beautiful release. So that's really cool. My only other Second Sight film is one that I also, for the longest time, wanted to add to my George A. Romero collection. Never had this, and I got, 12 or 13 of his movies, I think, somewhere like that. So it's funny that the first time I ever owned this film is actually on 4K, and that is, of course, the Second Sight release of Martin. And there's some of the extras on that. I've already watched it once. I was not disappointed at all. This is early vintage Romero, and if you've never seen Martin, it is an interesting take on the vampire lore film. I really did get a kick out of this Martin from Second Sight. And if I'm not mentioning every company, then woe to me, I'm sorry. Next one is the one I just got, my latest, and that is, of course, Dario Argento's Severin release of Opera. And I have to say, it has got the 12-minute director's cut, which is that's my preferred cut already. I only needed to see it one time. The transfer, the sound, the new integration of the new footage, or old footage, whatever, just makes it feel like a fuller film. And I'm telling you, man, just the disc art too. That's another minor nerd to me. I love it when sometimes with the disc art, just they kind of just go above a little bit. The other disc, there's 3 discs. commentaries, extras. There's one on here I just watched too. Don't Close Your Eyes, interview with film historian Fabrizio Spirio, which was really fantastic on the third disc. So if you happen to own this already and haven't seen that yet, that was really good. But I have to say, man, Opera is one of my top favorite slashers. I'm waiting for my top favorite slasher to get a 4K release. It has not yet. That is Stage Fright by Michele Soavi. That'll be one of those automatic pull the triggers. Now the next one's another John Carpenter movie, and this is a Studio Canal release. And man, did they knock out of the park the transfer, the sound, and the menu screen, I have to say, is pretty good too. But this is Studio Canal's The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog. Just an epic release by Studio Canal, and such an absolute joy to look at and to listen to on film. Again, yeah, I guess I didn't realize 3 discs. So Studio Canal has a pretty good reputation of putting out some really good stuff, but this might be one of my personal faves from John Carpenter, if that would make any sense. This is comfort food material. This is one of those that I can just put on anytime and enjoy. And so I think I had the DVD, never got the Blu-ray from Scream, but so I jumped from DVD to this, and definitely well worth it. This next one is an absolute gem on 4K. Dario Argento's Suspira, and this is Snaps, right? Snaps. Pretty sure it's Snaps. Yep, Snaps Films. And this is, yeah, I leave the plastic on sometimes. Somehow I think that's going to just help it last longer. I don't know. But multi-disc, just the transfer is so stinking crazy. Now, I'm a huge fan of, I got memories of watching this on VHS. Is that Magnum put it out? Way back in the day, renting it and just laying on my living room floor at night with all the lights off on my 25-inch console TV. There's my age a little bit, and just really being just pulled into the world of Italian cinema, and so my love for Italian cinema probably really began with what I brought home from the video store, which I was very fortunate. I had a video store that had quite a collection of Italian cinema, so I really got a chance to see quite a bit. Some of the things that Fangoria was talking about would see their releases on VHS, and I would, before 1990, I would start to, I would see from 87, 90-ish, that 3-year window was a good 3-year window for a lot of stuff on VHS. But anyways, this is so stinking out of this world, and how it looks. This is a Christmas present this past year. If there was ever a movie that could break into my top 5, it might have been this one, which seems absurd because I've had my top 5 ironclad forever, and I say forever and ever. But this one sits outside number 6 on my top 10 of the greatest films ever, and that is, of course, Godzilla -1. This my son gave Sam gave this to me for Christmas, and my tickets, of course, seeing it in the theater, and this just does not disappoint, man. This is my Godzilla film, I think. This is, God, just love this, man. Just love it. And to think that, who put this out? This was Toho Studios put this out, and just a great some commemorative special features. Not a lot in here, but it's too bad we didn't have a commentary, but I don't know how good his English is, the director. But anyways, Godzilla, man. Okay, so next one's kind of weird, but when Halloween Kills came out, I'm not the biggest fan of the new trilogy by any stretch. One of its harsher critics, probably. I do own all 3, though, and I saw all 3 in the movie theaters, so that sort of licenses me to be able to be somewhat of a critic, because I bought it, and I seen it in the theater. When this came out, I already had the first one on Blu, and I saw this, and again, it was just sort of like, why not pay the extra couple dollars and get it on 4K and just not Blu-ray? And with the darker colored palette again, it just seemed to make sense that it would look pretty good, and it does look really good. I have no complaints in terms of the packaging, how it looks, the sound and everything. It really does. It's one of those that just looks great at night, pitch black room on your 4K TV. It really does. For whatever criticisms we have of the trilogy of the films, those be, set aside. It's great to look at. It's some popcorn fun, and it was great to have Halloween back in the cinemas again. And it always will be fun when we get those. And so, you can be critics, but at the same time, you got to enjoy the fact that we got them, right? This next one may top off my top 5. Yes, it does. This is, no, next 2 do. I'm sorry. This is a Universal release, one of the best looking 4Ks ever, and that is the original Steven Spielberg Jaws. This is really great, nice release. And I got another one on DVD somewhat like it in terms of a book that comes with it, and then of course the 4K, and the documentary on here on the restoration of the film is unreal. I wish they applied that same sort of idea to every older film to bring it to life. But just watching that process unfold is pretty remarkable. And it does look, I think Steven even says, probably looks better now on 4K than it ever did in the movie. Now, I did see in the movie theater when I was 5. That's a whole nother story for another time. Great. I hope my stack doesn't fall. I really don't want these to fall. Okay, this rounds out my top 5. By the way, Jaws interchangeably with this one sits number 1, number 2. It really depends on my feelings for the day. John Carpenter's The Thing. I probably got more releases of this particular film than anyone should be allowed to have. The Aerial, The Scream Factory, multiple DVDs. I've got from Blu-ray to DVD to 4K on VHS. I got 2 separate releases on VHS, the Letterboxd, the regular formatted to your TV. But Universal really hit it out of the park. This transfer is freaking great. And I am a huge nerd when it comes to The Thing. And most of anyone who knows me, watches my videos, knows that. I freaking love The Thing. And this usually sits in my number 1 spot. But it interchanges with Jaws. It really just depends on my mood. This next one was a Christmas present. What can you say about Christopher Nolan, man? And now he's going to be bringing the Odyssey to life. The casting is already underway. But Oppenheimer, what an absolutely fantastic release. And who put this out? Universal. That's another Universal release. The practicals on the atomic explosion are insane. What they were able to do, and it's sort of magnetic in how it fits. I don't know if I want to open the whole thing up. I got things that are going to fall out, but my ticket's in there. Kind of just give you an idea. It unfolds continuously out, and you got your discs in there. From what I remember, quite a few bonus deals. There they are on here, and I'm not showing you every one, so I apologize for that. But this movie looks absolutely, I saw it in the theater, looks absolutely fantastic on 4K. It's quite, the atomic bomb explosion and how all that goes off is just insane. This is another weird one. It's one of those where, why not spend the extra couple dollars and just get it on 4K instead of Blu-ray? And this is probably my favorite of the Conjuring films. It's my sort of go-to just to be entertained. I guess my comfort food, if one of the 3 was a comfort food, and that is The Devil Made Me Do It. This looks so freaking great on 4K. And again, color palette does so much, I think. I'm not a nerd about this stuff. I don't know everything there is to know about it. But it just seems like the darker the color palette, the richer it is. And if anyone knows this stuff way better than me, you can comment down below and just agree with me or not agree with me or whatever. But it just seems like, now Jaws is an exception, because a lot of that is in the daylight too. And everything looks perfect in that movie. The next one was this one I picked up on the cheap at a thrift store. And I have just recently become a full-fledged fan of the world of Dune. And this is Dune Part 2. And man, this looks so crazy good on 4K. It's like it was meant to be on 4K. This is Warner Brothers now. So Conjuring 3 was a Warner Brothers release. This is a Warner Brothers release. I got the first Dune Part 1 on Blu-ray. Still looks fantastic. And now we got Dune Messiah coming down. But this is just recently become a huge fan of that. And I'm almost done. I only have 3 left, so we're not that bad. Okay. So next one. I have completely fallen in love with this movie. Like, it's almost kind of like a new love affair has started between me and this film. And I saw this film in the theater way back in the day when I was a young kid. Well, probably 14, right? 84, I think, come out. James Cameron's The Terminator. I can't tell you how awesome this looks on 4K. It is out of this world. The sound, everything else, it just looks. I know there's conversations out there about people who don't like it or how he used the AI and all that junk. I have re-fallen in love with this movie. I have watched this movie since I got it on 4K more than I have watched. And I had the DVD, so it was a big jump up from DVD to this, so granted. But I have watched this movie more since I have it on 4K than I have in probably the last couple years on DVD. It's just, I don't know what it is, how it looks, how it sounds, how it just comes off the screen. This is amazing. All right, we're almost there. Now, this one was another Christmas present for my wife. We don't watch it near as enough, and quite frankly, and yeah, you'll see the promo sticker because I left the plastic on. The first Wonder Woman, which I'm gonna be dead honest, man. I liken myself to be a bit of a historian. Many years of teaching and schooling and everything else, and I was really freaked out by the notion of seeing Wonder Woman amongst the trenches in World War I. I have to say, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But the promo. This was this was really super dirt cheap at Walmart for some Christmas, back when. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I'm not going to really attest to the 4K. I'm sure it looked pretty good. I'm not sure why we never watched this. I have to ask my wife. Maybe we should watch it sometime. Last one. So for the longest time, I actually preferred this sequel to the original. I might be going back to the original. I recently rewatched that with my boys not too long ago, but when this first came out on, it just made sense to get it on 4K. Again, probably the money, and that is Peninsula. This is a fun movie, and this really does look pretty good on 4K. Again, dark colored palette at work, I think. And the sequel to Train to Busan. But I recently rewatched the first with my son not too long ago, and I don't know, but I do love this. I love it as a sequel. It's just neat how they, Korea has become this sort of like no-go zone, and so except for like what do you call it? What is the word I'm looking for? It's not coming to me. But anyways, people are paid to, life and limb to go in there to grab the underground market, whatever kind of stuff. And so it really is the story arc of this guy who a lot of South Korean films always have an incredible story arc. Godzilla -1, man, no exception. What an incredible story arc there of redemption. This too has a pretty good one. And it's fun to look at, man. It's eye candy on 4K. It just looks great. So Peninsula, and this was it Wellgo? Yeah, Wellgo USA put this on 4K. Go figure. Wonder Woman was Warner Brothers, so I actually have four Warner Brothers and one Wellgo on the Wailing. I should probably have that on 4K. But anyways, so that rounds out my 4K. I'm actually pretty good, 38 minutes. We'll just round it out. And just say that, again, for me, it's quality over quantity. A lot of those in there are films that I've been in love with forever. And some I just never owned. And when it dropped, it just made sense. Well, I might as well just get the best available release of it, which, we hope is 4K. And it tends to be. Opera, man, did not disappoint. And I would say if I had just a top 5 maybe, and this is just off the top of my head, I don't know, Prince of Darkness, Opera, Godzilla -1, it's 3, Terminator, I don't know, it's hard to say top 5, man, it's hard. City of the Living Dead Cauldron did an absolutely incredible job with that movie. That is stinking fantastic. She didn't look that good. I had the arrow of that too. That's great. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't tried the new Dr. Pepper blackberry. Stinking awesome. So there you go. A lot of just movies that have meant a lot to me, and a few new ones like The Sadness, ones that I'd never seen before but always wanted to, like Martin. And it's not a bad thing to continue to work on that George A. Romero collection, right? Yeah, so I don't know what the next one will be. I don't know. Stage Fright. We got to get Stage Fright on 4K. Yeah, that's mandatory. That would be an immediate pulling the trigger of that if that was like 3-month, pre-order kind of business. And that's the other thing I'll just say. I'll just end it here with pre-orders. Generally speaking, if you pre-order via Amazon, they don't take your money until it ships. So you usually have like 3 months or whenever you pull the trigger, to save for it, right? But when you go boutique label, go to the source, whether it's 88 Films or Second Sight or whatever it is, they'll generally take the money from you when you pull the trigger to ensure that you stick to it. Which you can understand. At the same time, my age, I grew up with the layaway system at Walmart, right? Where you could, or even before that, I'm sure Kmart had it, where you could just get all your Christmas shopping and then you had a couple months to save up to pay it off. But you had the stuff. So it's nice when you can pull the trigger on something 3 months out, know you have some time to save up, especially for a big release that's, $80, $100 or something. So it's nice to do it like that, but it's also nice to support a boutique label as well. So you just got to know that if you're going to pull the trigger on something like, which most of you probably already know that, it's just sort of one of the things that you got to deal with. So anyways, for me, quality over quantity. This is episode 34 of my Something Weird, Just a Thought, and quite a few thoughts in there, I think, maybe. And so there you go. Not too bad for considering how many I have there. Tell me what you think of my collection, my 4K collection. Next up, I think I will do a franchise, and I know which one, but I won't tell you. Anyways, as always, go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream. We might be useful to you.